Hey everybody, Brian McCumber here from Tech Money Talks. I'm super excited because today we are doing one of the most highly requested episodes. We are fortunate to have Tanner Plains as a special guest on the show. And for those of you in dropshipping, you should know who he is. And if you don't, then you've been missing out big time because he was one of the first to change the landscape of dropshipping using the techniques of influencer marketing. If you're interested in starting an online business to make extra money, you better save this episode in your back pocket and listen to it over and over again because the stories and the tips you're going to learn here will give you the opportunity to quickly launch your own business to help your wallet grow fat. Tanner is literally next gen, and you'll find out why later in the episode. He is one of the youngest professional dropshippers on the planet, earning millions of dollars by the young age of 18. Over the past couple of years, before my eyes, he's been dominating dropshipping with his innovative approach and has been mentoring others how to successfully do the same. Tanner is the real deal and is one of the most transparent professional dropshippers out there on the internet right now, becoming an internet celebrity over the past couple of years. He is crushing it and everyone is looking to get a piece of his time. I'm so happy to have him on the show today. Tanner, thanks for joining us, man. How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for those words, man. Really
Awesome.
saying a lot
How
of
did
nice
I
stuff.
do? Was the intro okay or what?
Yeah, that intro was great, man. I appreciate it. Usually,
Awesome.
like when these kind of things happen, well, this is actually my first time on a podcast, so it's pretty exciting.
Hey, first, yeah, kicking it off right. Definitely, man. Hey, this is great stuff. Looking forward to this. Highly requested for sure. And like I said, you've been crushing it out there in drop shipping, and it's just been great. But I would say, for the audience, so for those that may not know who you are, maybe can you share your journey into drop shipping and how you got into it?
Yeah. So I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. It may take like a couple of minutes here. But basically, growing up, in middle school and stuff, I always tried to, go out for the soccer team to tryouts and stuff like that. And I could really never, ever get on the sports teams. I never really had good grades. And, I don't want to sound like cliche, like, it didn't fit in. I was a, misfit or whatever. I wasn't like a bad kid.
Uh-huh.
I was raised well by my parents. I really loved them. And I just wasn't normal. I didn't really fit in. I just wasn't fitting with the normal. I had trouble making friends. And I sort of noticed that as time went on. And, so I would spend my time doing other things. Since I wasn't playing sports like most of the other kids in my school, they would, after school, they'd go to, soccer practice for a couple of hours or whatever, and then go home and homework, whatever. But like for me, when I was 13 years old, for Christmas, I got an iPad mini. And that was
Nice.
like one of the main things I spent my time on, since I wasn't playing sports and stuff. I just go in there, watch videos, play games, whatever I'd do. I was only 13. I didn't really know anything about business, but I was always doing things like mowing lawns and different things like that to make money. Like a little quick funny story. I remember I would mow lawns for one of my dad's friends. My dad would drive me over to his house just to mow his grass. And I remember like I was so like small and weak. I couldn't even start the mower. It's like, you have to pull it to start it. And I remember someone would be in the yard and I had to stop the mower and I wouldn't be able to turn it back on. I have to go inside and get the guy who was paying me to start the lawnmower for me. I remember I'd feel so bad every time. I'd sit there for like 30 minutes just trying to start. But anyways, I was always doing like small stuff like that, like sitting in front of my driveway, trying to lemonade, all this stuff that sounds, pretty normal. But I mean, I just wanted to make some money because I didn't really do anything else. And then for those of you that know the social media app Vine, it came out in 2013, I believe. It's basically like 6-second videos, and it became very popular very fast. And I got on there, I was using it sort of like from the consumer perspective of just watching other funny people. But I was like, I want to make cool videos. I want to be popular. I want to have a lot of followers. A lot of people, a lot of young kids these days see YouTubers and they want to be a YouTuber. That was sort of how I was with Vine. But as far as my personality goes, I wasn't someone to go out there and make funny videos because I was so scared of what other people thought of me. Especially in middle school. You don't want your friends making fun of you for trying to make funny videos on the internet. So what I did, what I started doing was just I had a theme page. So basically I would make a themed account. It was called Epic. And I would basically just post like random clips, like dubstep bass drop music mixed with like a basketball dunk, or like some kind of highlight, sports, hunting, whatever, like the most random stuff. And eventually one of those videos went viral. And, I gained, I think I had over 100,000 loops, which is basically just like views, how many times people watched it over and over. And I
Wow.
got a lot of followers from that. And over time, like it just kept accumulating. And eventually I had over 100,000 followers on that single Vine account. And like, I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know anything about money, business, social media marketing, any of that stuff. This is when I was 13, 14 years old by the time it was actually growing. And then eventually like some
Wow.
companies would reach out and they would pay me to, they'd pay me like $10 a day to basically like reshare, sort of like shout out for shout out, but we would revine, like retweet, like revine their ads and stuff like that. And between our pages, my friends and I, sort of like a little network. And it was interesting to me, looking back at it, because most of the other kids that I was working with, that also had the same amount of followers with themed accounts were like my age. Like it wasn't adults that were doing it. It was like kids my age that sort of just like figured out the algorithm, or, just by
Yeah.
luck of consistency and putting out some kind of entertainment.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I don't want to get into too many details because that would take forever, but it's a really long story. But basically, we ended up growing a bunch of Vine accounts, me, a couple of the random kids I met on there. And I was making maybe 10, $20 a day, but like that was amazing for me. 14 years old in middle school, making $20 a day
So you started
was
creating
great.
multiple accounts to kind of scale it up. Wow.
Oh
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
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 And this was
It was
still
great.
around where you were 13.
Yeah. This is, so by the time I was at the accounts, I was like the whole year of
Moving
when
into
I was
14.
14 years old
That's
was just,
awesome.
yeah, it was just like Vine accounts. And then eventually, that sort of, it came to a weird end. Like basically what happened is all the big Vine accounts that had millions of followers, like the most I ever had on an account was, right above 200,000, which is a lot, but, a little compared to the huge people. But I saw the huge influencers were switching over to Instagram and trying to get all their audience over there. So I'm like, I guess maybe there's more money over there. There's, whatever opportunity. So I ended up getting rid of all the accounts. I remember hopping on a phone call with some random agency in Florida that called me and wanted to buy my accounts. They paid me for like $300, something super small. I sold it. Like I just didn't know anything about business and value. I'm sure, I know for a fact I got screwed over so many times by these companies, ads and stuff like that, just because they knew I was young and I would do it for cheap or whatever. I'm sure they made a huge return. But anyways, I ended
Yeah.
up basically moving over to Instagram. I got a 500,000 follower account. Basically, I became a co-owner. The guy that owned it, I told him, said, I own these Vine accounts. What can I do? I'll help grow your account. And he ended up letting me co-own it, growing it from there. And basically, to keep things short, for the next 2-3 years, I was 15 there. Actually, about a year or two was really just filled with growing Instagram accounts, growing themed accounts on Instagram. And I would make money by selling ads, like ad space, shout outs. And, it was decent money, whatever. Eventually got to a point where my business partner and I had a DIY account with over 3 million followers. He was the main owner of it. And then I had my other accounts. But like he was making, I think like 10 grand a month. He was 15 or 16. I was making maybe a couple thousand a month from some affiliate marketing stuff, as well as selling ads on my account. But
Wow.
I just realized, I was like, I'm doing this, but I feel like I could be doing so much more. And I realized that these companies are consistently buying ads from our pages for a reason. They're obviously
Yeah.
making money off of us if they're continuously buying. So then I was like, why don't we start, our own e-commerce? Or why don't we make one? Why can't we do it?
Yeah.
And then my first thought was like, oh, I'm gonna have to have a warehouse. I'm gonna have to have employees. I'm gonna have to have inventory. It's gonna cost a bunch of money. I'm not old enough. I told
Uh-huh.
myself all these things that really could just stop me from starting my own online store.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the question of what do I sell? How do I sell it? All these different things. And I don't remember exactly. I wish I knew, but somehow I stumbled across dropshipping in, it was early 2017, about March, April, around the same time, actually. So about 2 years ago. And I remember I didn't know what to sell. And my business partner at the time, who had the DIY account with 3 million followers, he sent me his products. He's like, I think it's a good product. And basically what it was a bubble mask, like you put it on your face and it's supposed to like foam up and then you clean it off and it cleans your face. And
Oh,
it was
yeah,
an
yeah,
interesting
yeah.
product. And it was very marketable. Yeah, it was very marketable because it looks funny on all the ads that we had. And we saw the
Definitely
product. I
viral.
ended up making, yeah, I ended up making a one product store on Shopify. It looked like trash, and I didn't know anything about Facebook ads or email marketing or whatever else. And all I knew was some experience from influencer marketing by, from selling shout outs on our own pages. And eventually what had happened, we had the store up and we would just post the ads on our own account. We tried buying ad spots on some other pages and it wasn't really profitable and we didn't have the capital to do that. So we were just posting it on our own page with the 3 million followers. We posted over and over and over and we were making money. I was like, I made it. I'm successful now. I'm never gonna have to work because we hit like first like $1,000 day in revenue, and there's no ad spend because it was our own page. And basically, I just felt like I was on top of the world, and I was like, this is crazy. It's so much easier than I thought. And
Yeah.
then about 2 weeks later, it just died out completely. Other influencers started figuring out what dropshipping was. We started talking to too many people, telling them what we were doing. They copy us.
Mm.
Well, as since we were just promoting it on our own page, the audience got saturated. It's not like a new audience that gets populated all the time. It's the same audience seeing the ad over and over.
Yeah.
Um, so at the end of the month, it was about $20,000 in revenue, and which was crazy for us. We ended up buying inventory and then never even sold it all. Still to this day, there's inventory of this bubble mask stuff, probably a few hundred units sitting in my parents' room, in my room at my
You
parents'
moved
house.
into buying the oh, God.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so we ended up buying inventory and then didn't even get to sell it. And if I would have known what I know now, I would have made so much more money then. It would have been crazy. But then it took me 7 months to reach my next success, just because of trial and error and all these things that were happening. I didn't know what to do because that was really my only taste in it. And from there, I didn't know how to make money. We didn't have the Instagram account to use anymore. All this stuff happened. And what I did there is I started a entrepreneur club at my high school. So I just didn't know what to do. So I did that. My dad gave me the idea. I started it. I would bring in local business guests. I would go to local business events and network with people and ask them if they want to come speak. And I had a group of like 5 to 10 kids that would come in on a weekly basis to the conference room. I would make everybody wear little dress suits, and we would just talk about
Awesome.
business and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was cool, but it was taking a lot of time. And I was realizing, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm not even making money myself. I'm not even doing anything for myself. I'm just sort of coasting, and I was wasting time.
Hmm.
And then in October of 2017, I went to Miami for the first time, which was probably the best decision I ever made. I'm glad my parents let me do it because they're pretty strict on me traveling by myself. Um, and I met Hayden Bowles. I met some of my friends, Brett Byrne, Kieran, JR Garage, all these people. And it really opened my eyes. That was my first time really leaving, small city, small town in North Carolina, and seeing like all the opportunities out there, seeing all the sports cars, all the big buildings, all the success, all this stuff going on. It really just motivated me. And that's when I started my YouTube channel. And literally like a week later is when I had my first ever 6-figure store selling a gold rose. I'm sure you saw that YouTube video on my
Yeah.
channel. It's the most viewed channel or most viewed video on my channel.
Yeah.
Like how I made 20K in a day dropshipping at 20 years old. And that was like 18K in revenue, all influencer ads, by the way, using like a text post, like a relatable meme kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was a very weird situation making that much money that fast. We had issues as far as fulfilling all the orders, payment process, all this stuff I ran into after having, no results with dropshipping for 7 months and then coming into, that much success. It was sort of like blindside to me, but I had learned from my failures and I was able to, produce those results. And it wasn't expected. Like even that video, looking back at it, is sort of weird to look at because I didn't know. Like a lot of people thought it was fake because I didn't know what to show people or what to talk about because I was one of my first YouTube videos, so I didn't know really how to talk to the camera.
Yeah, you're doing a really good job there, and actually, because there's two great stories of what you touched on here, which is really awesome. But the jumping back to the first one, which was so on that trip to Miami, meeting Hayden, like what's the story behind that?
Yeah, so really it was like we had an Instagram. This probably sounds a little weird, not weird, but it's sort of it's a cool story. We had an Instagram DM group. It was like me, Hayden, a few other, entrepreneurs where we were like 15, 16, 17, doing different little stuff, and we would talk to each other, and we all lived all around the country. And I remember like one time there was an event in San Diego and all these people were going. Casey Adams, I'd known him then. He was in the group. And Caleb Maddox, Hayden Bowles, Kieran from JR Garage. All these people, they went there, and I wasn't able to go. My parents wouldn't let me go. But at the same time, I didn't have enough money to go all the way there. I didn't have a place to stay and all this stuff. I remember I was so bummed out. And then one time they were like, "All right, we're going to Miami," and I have some family near Miami, so my parents luckily let me go. And it was just a great
Awesome.
experience. But I met Hayden, and he was doing some drop shipping stuff. He had already had a YouTube channel, and he's the one who actually got me to start a YouTube channel. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
so
because I remember catching that first one, and like both of you guys are like on the balcony there, and I was just like, "All right, yeah, this is so awesome," and you guys are just kicking it off at the time.
yeah, that was actually my first time ever meeting Hayden. Was there, and he's like, "Yo, you want to record a video for my channel?" So that video was actually first on his channel, and then he told me to start a channel, and I was like, can I just take your video that we made and put it on my channel for my first video? That's what I did.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. And then, even leading into like your YouTube journey, it's so like, I mean, even, fast forwarding that, I saw like currently you have like over 80,000 subscribers, which is awesome. And then you mentioned, yeah, I remember, most YouTubers, when they reflect on, their YouTube journey, there's always like, one or a few videos that really made a difference, like getting attraction out there. Would you say it was that one video,
Yeah. The how I
20,000 in
made
a
20K
day?
in a day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
share the story behind it.
so really what happened is like that store, like I said earlier in the podcast, it just blew up sort of by random. I was like, I'm just gonna make a video about it. It seemed like something good to make a video about. Because at that time I was posting, pretty sure I was posting every day. I did it for a couple months. But I made that video, and I remember it was like I didn't know what to talk about. Like you watch the video back, it's so weird. But like I sort of,
It
it's
was
not really
actually
a
really
regret.
cool. Even summarize the video because, like, you even mentioned like how saw how that influencer marketing was working. Then you filled out the day. But yeah, share the story, like that summary of the video. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while, but I think I pretty much just I showed a screenshot, which is like anybody could fake a screenshot, and I was like, "Yep, here's my sales I did with influencer marketing." I don't
And you
remember
were
exactly
you
what I
you were
said.
you were like, because you were going to high school still, and then you were like, watching it throughout the day, and it's like at the end of the you know,
Oh yeah, you're bringing back some memories actually. Now I remember just like it was actually the night before where it started blowing up, and I remember I was just like up there in my little office in my parents' house, and I remember
uh-huh.
like I bought like an ad for like $100 or something like that, and it was just getting so many sales, and it was like my phone was blowing up with the notifications. I remember going downstairs. I'm like, Dad, I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting a ton of sales right now. I think my store's going viral. And he's like, I don't think he really knew what I meant because he didn't like my parents don't. They never really knew what I did. They never really understood it. Um,
Oh, that's great.
and and he's like, okay, that's cool. And then
That's good, son.
yeah, I was like, no, I'm already at $1,000 already, and it was like nighttime or evening or something like that. And
Uh-huh.
he's like, wow. And then the morning, I remember just being in class and just I went to a public charter school where they sort of like discipline you a little bit more, and it's a little bit more strict. So like having phones out in class is like a big no-no. But I remember I would sit in the back of the class and just like slide my phone out of my pocket to look at my sales. And sometimes I'd leave it on, sometimes by accident, and let people hear it. Just
Uh-huh.
ding, 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 ding.
Uh,
Like it was back to back. It
your
was
friends are listening
unreal.
too. Oh, God.
Yeah, because the thing was, you have to think about it. It was 18,000 something dollars in revenue, but the product itself was, I think each unit was sold for like $15 or $10 or something small like that. So it was so many actual sales, and yeah, I mean, I could have made a much better video. I wish I was in a better. I mean, I'm not gonna wish I was in a better situation than
No,
as far
sharing.
as knowing how to talk to a camera because you live and learn. But
Yeah, but I mean, sharing that story, and I think when it's too formal and professional, people sort of tune out, and
yeah,
that video was so real, and I think that's part of the reason why it blew up so big is that people relate to what's real, and you shared that story, and like yeah, I went back to to catch it to see what was there, and just like, man, that's like such an awesome feeling, and just to experience that, and you found something that hit, and then all of a sudden I could just imagine, I could have put myself in your place and imagine, sitting in high school and all of a sudden all these sales are popping off as you're going to each class, which is like, man, that's just like a really awesome story.
yeah, that was a crazy day. It was honestly, I was hiring like some of my friends to fulfill orders for me because I didn't want to do it. And it was taking so long, and then my credit or my debit cards kept getting declined for the orders because like my bank would only let me do 50 transactions a day, but this was like thousands of orders, so I had to fulfill all of them, and I was having issues with that. And it was
Oh,
it was a big
wow.
mess. So I had to figure out all those logistics myself, which was very difficult. I mean, it was a great learning lesson, though.
Yeah, big learn. So was that like a turning point, and then all of a sudden things, you started to learn and continue to run with it, and then would you say that that was like a
Yes,
turning?
I would say it was a turning point. mostly because it gave me like some hope that there's so much more that you can achieve out there. Because like I was just a 16-year-old kid in high school that I just made this product blow up on Instagram. So there's so many other people that have done it. There's so many other people doing it. And it just showed me like how many opportunities there actually are out there and what's possible at any age, really. So it really just opened my eyes a lot. Now that store only lasted, I think it hit up to like $130,000 in 2.5 weeks. And then it
Wow.
sort of just died out. It just died out. Like the ads just became, they weren't profitable anymore. I didn't have any more influencers to use. I was using all themed influencers, by the way. There weren't any personal accounts. I wish I had touched into that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know a single thing about Facebook ads or anything. So I wasn't able to do retargeting. I wasn't able to do anything. So after that died out, I was like, I want to find something that can actually make me money like consistently instead of just, of course, there's a ton of money in 2 weeks, but I want to be able to do that, all the time. I'd rather have $1,000 a day than $10,000 in one day every month. Um, so then I started to learn Facebook ads a little bit. I started touching into it, and it honestly took me a lot longer to learn Facebook ads than like the break I had between my first
Yeah.
store and the successful six-figure store. It took
Yeah.
a very long time.
Yeah, because you had a lot of good, I mean, and in sharing your story, I think, now everybody can see where that, influencer marketing, technique grew from. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I mean, I think it was a game changer, and even the way you're, wording your course, next gen is just like a new way of thinking, and you just applied it and it just kicked off. One of the things I wanted to quickly take a step back to, because I think it'll be really good for the audience, is when you mentioned where it took you like that another 7 months before you reached that next level of success. What was your mindset in between to kind of like keep sticking with them? What were you doing like in terms of product testing and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, a majority of the time was probably spent just of me sort of bummed out, but I didn't know what else to do, so I just kept pushing for it. Like I said, I
Yeah.
had the entrepreneur club, but I realized pretty quick that that's sort of just like I was doing it just to coast. Like it was great for networking and like getting my name out there for as far as the local business area here in North Carolina. I made a lot of great connections with investors and stuff like that. But like I still had the passion for drop shipping, just selling things online, and I wanted to do it. And I was watching some other people's YouTube videos. There weren't a ton out there to learn from. Um, and like I didn't have a ton of money to invest in the different things. I was scared to pay people to mentor me because I didn't know, is he actually going to help me? Is he not going to help me? Whatever. And I was really just trying to learn by myself through trial and error. And like a lot of that time, like honestly, was just spent. Like I was just looking down on myself. I was like, I don't know what to do. I want to do this, but I don't know how to make it work.
Uh-huh.
So trying new things over and over and over, and I was still making a little bit of income from the Instagram account. Instagram accounts we still had. We'd make some money from those. Like I was making a little bit of money, but it wasn't enough to
Yeah.
fully fund what I wanted to do. So once I had that small X amount of money, I invested into the Gold Rose ads, and it started becoming profitable. Like I would just use all the customers that bought it through PayPal. I would just reinvest that money and send that PayPal money to influencers to pay for the ads. I'd
Mhm.
spend like $30,000 in ads to influencers within a week, just sending it out like that. Luckily, my PayPal never got on hold. Well, it did end up getting on hold for 180 days, which was a bummer.
What was the reason for that?
PayPal they don't like dropshippers, especially with that low ticket stuff. People make a chargeback, and like I don't know what the actual indicators are PayPal uses, but I don't know. There was like 5 people that wanted a refund, and then they put up my stuff on hold. They asked for all your documents, and I felt sort of bad during all this stuff because my Shopify payments were on hold too, because it was like when you do such a large amount within so quick, like they want a proof of your company and all this stuff. And I was only 16. So I had to get my dad involved for all this stuff. And I felt bad. He's having to put all of his information on all my stores and PayPal and stuff like that. But I'm glad he helped me out with that.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, you brought up a good point because I didn't get a chance to share this with you. Like, I mean, I've been in the industry for the tech industry for about 20 years, since the dot-com boom. And
Mhm.
I've done a lot, I have a tech company, stuff like that, but also, proven out that all forms of online business, works, and especially even drop shipping. And it was funny when I did that episode with Scott, I had him rolling because I said, I go, way back before there was even the Shopify. Like I had to program my own e-commerce site and automated the whole process. I was drop shipping cigars before there was even like legal regulations about sales of tobacco
Wow.
products over the internet. That's how, this was like the beginning of e-commerce, but it was like really cool and proved that it works. But there's a longer story behind that, how it got shut down. But the funny thing is that, now, fast forward to today, like I have a son that's a freshman in high school and an eighth grader, and I've been getting them into, the drop shipping business too. And actually, I tell others, I'm like, treat it like a family business. So I have my, my wife, my boys, and, we're sitting around the dinner table and they each have their own venture and we're all talking about, product sales that are popping off. And it's just like a really cool thing about it. When I mentioned that I was going to be talking to you today on the show, so they were excited because them and their friends, high school friends, they're following me, and then of course they're following you. So they had a couple of questions. One, they wanted to know what your motivation was, and then two, what you were touching on, which was, if you're under 18, how can they do drop shipping?
Well, first off, that's like goals. Having a family with the kids that's into business too, and they have all the questions and stuff. I love that so much. With my sister, I try to get her. I have a younger sister who's 13 or 14, and I try to get her into some stuff. Or I would ask her, I was like, "Hey, if you pack these orders for me, when I do some in-house stuff, I was like, I'll pay you $20 an hour." And like, she would never do it. So I guess she'll find out when she turns 16. She's gonna need money. But anyway, to answer the first question, what was my motivation? I'll say at first, my main motivations when I first started getting into stuff and like understanding a little bit more about business and money and stuff like that was just like the material. Like being honest, it was just the materialistic things. I would meet local business. When I had the entrepreneur club, and I would bring in guests. There was one of them that had a Ferrari and the big house and watches or whatever else. Like I
Wow.
was driven towards all that stuff of I want to have a fancy car. I want to have a big house. I want to, all that stuff that,
Yeah.
when you're a little kid, you see it and you're just attracted to it visually.
Yeah.
Even just like psychologically, you think of those things and you want them.
Yeah.
And,
Even
like
adult
I was
kids
like,
are attracted to it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then what I realized is like when I would first start making money, I started spending all my money trying to fit in to be, cool. Cause like when I first started making money in middle school, I was spending my money just trying to be like the cool kids. So like I didn't have that many friends. I wasn't really fitting in. I wasn't like a full like outcast. Like I still get along with people, but I never really clicked with anybody like fully. Like most people I wouldn't hang out with outside of the school just because I didn't want to. I didn't feel like I knew them or trusted them. And like I would spend my money. I remember like PlayStation, buying all the video games so I could play with them. And I remember like this stuff, it never did anything for me. And the same thing happened as I started making more and more money. I started buying bigger and bigger toys. And then you sort of realize like eventually the motivation for those things is going to run out. You have to figure out something that's actually going to motivate me. Like now, the things that motivate me most are things that have like an emotional attachment to them. Like one of my biggest goals is to have my students generate over $10 million in sales this year. So like that's something that's like emotionally like $10 million can be seen as like a materialistic whatever, but like it's something that's helping other people succeed and helping them grow. And it can be like the same thing. I can attach to that to Ferrari. If I want a Ferrari, I can attach to, I want to get it for what reason? Maybe I want to be able to do, rallies where I take, kids with disabilities on ride or, whatever else, like just attaching some kind of an emotional aspect has been able to drive me a lot more to do things. And now I don't really care as much of, when am I going to be able to buy my next car? When am I going to be able to buy my own house? All that stuff. Like I'm just more driven towards things that affect people.
No, that's really great. And I actually want to dive into, what's the story, what was the story behind deciding to teach others? So now when you found out that it's working for you, what was the story behind deciding to teach others about it?
Yeah, so for me, it was really when I met Hayden, he was telling me about he had a YouTube channel and he had a course. He was selling it, he's making money. I was like, that's pretty cool, whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna make a YouTube channel. He told me to. He said it would be good. And I remember I was excited. I was doing it, posting every day. And I just enjoyed seeing the feedback of the satisfaction of having other people view my videos and comment, wow, Tanner, this actually helped me. This is something that's helped me with this or whatever, this and that.
Yeah.
That was like a positive impact for me.
Yeah.
And I remember I just kept
Fulfilling,
doing
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hooked. I was hooked on it. And then I remember one day I had bad grades and my parents would discipline me by like taking my phone or whatever. And I remember they took my phone, my computer, my camera, and I lost like a 3-month streak of posting every day. And I was so upset. And like,
Um,
I lost my momentum. But what really got me into teaching other people is, I don't know, I just enjoyed the fulfillment of helping other people. What I look back on now and realize and sort of, have learned a lesson from is like when I made my first course in 2018, early 2018, and it's called 0 to 1,000. And I showed sort of just
mhm.
like a case study of building a store from 0 to $1,000 a day with influencers. And like I did that, but I was so focused more on making money from it than helping other people. And that quickly turned myself upside down with, people didn't like it. Like people can tell when you're doing something for the wrong reasons. And being 16 and making money, like trying to just make as much money as possible when I had the audience, like people could tell. And, I learned from that. Like that was just something I had to realize is that if I'm going to do something like this, personal branding and helping other people with YouTube and stuff like that, of course I'm going to find ways to make money and do things like that because I'm a business person. I want to make money from everything I do. And I also value my time, but I also I want to help other people. And
Yeah.
so that's what I had to realize is that, if I do want to do this, make money from it and make a business from it, the business is going to be helping other people, not just receiving.
Yeah, yeah. Like making sure that you're delivering more value than the dollars that they're paying out for you.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
which is good, man. Those are great lessons learned through there too. And actually I remember, when you mentioned about that 3-month momentum loss, because I remember catching that when you and Scott Hilsey did that Instagram live, which I thought was like really cool. You guys connecting and doing that
Oh yeah. That
is
was awesome.
Instagram live. Maybe share the story behind that, like connecting with Scott and then talking about the stuff you guys were talking about was really cool. So yeah, maybe share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Scott, I think I ran across one of his videos on YouTube and I was like, wow, this kid, like I had no idea who he was. I was like, he's getting a lot of views for how many subscribers he has. Like maybe he's doing something right. I watched one of his videos, like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And then, I didn't really think anything of it, whatever. And then I got contacted by Oberlo, the OG fulfillment app and product import service that people use for dropshipping. Shopify owns it now. But anyways,
Yeah.
they contacted me and I was on a call with them because they wanted to do some type of collaboration on their channel and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And then they told me
Awesome.
about Scott Hilsey. They're like, yeah, we had Scott. He flew out here. We flew him out here and he made videos for us and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, I don't really know too much about him, but he seems like a cool guy. And then I
Yeah.
ended up I think I sent him, I responded to I followed him on Instagram. I responded to one of his stories one time and then we just chatted a little bit. And he's like, he told me a little bit about his story. I was like, that's pretty cool. And he's like, yeah, I used to watch your videos. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And and then I just had the random idea because he was on a live. That's what it was. He was on an Instagram live stream, and I went on there and commented, and he noticed me and said, whatever. And then I DM'd him. I was like, oh, let's do a live stream. I never called him on the phone or anything. And we just the next week, whatever it was, we went on the live stream. That was my first time ever talking to him. I mean, we just had a good time, sort of like talking about our stories, sort of what
Yeah.
we've been
Yeah,
through and
because
lived and learned.
you guys share the same stories, and this is the really cool thing about it, which is really awesome because you guys reach. I mean, Scott, when he shared his story, he was like, Brian, literally a little over a year ago, I was Uber driving, and before that, I was a busser, and now, he has multiple six-figure, drop shipping sites, and then, making over $1 million through his course and stuff. And I was like, man, this is so. And he himself being transparent and real about it, and you've done the same, and and even changing the landscape with the influencer marketing, and to see you guys connect and then share your own stories, because you guys were talking about dealing with that level of success, the people, the haters, the weirdos, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff that you guys were sharing, which was just like really cool.
Yeah, and I think that's good to us being transparent as possible to each other, not only to each other, but the audience. The audience recognizes that, they respect you for it, and it just gives a better perception of you. Like Scott, his journey of, he was an Uber driver and cleaning tables at restaurants and stuff like that. Like I don't have a crazy, like I would never try and flex like a rags to riches story. Like for me, I never grew up broke. I was born into a, average, normal middle class family, into a, normal neighborhood with a bunch of houses all crammed up next to each other. That's one of my motivating factors, by the way, is that I never want to ever live in a neighborhood like that again, or have my parents live in one of those. I got to make sure I got them taken care of. But like I was just born into a normal family, and my parents, I always grew up on, going to the grocery store with my parents. All right, we're not getting this unless it has a coupon for buy one going free, or whatever. And if I wanted to buy something, if I wanted to buy a toy or food, whatever, I would have to pay for it. They say, all right, you want to buy it, you have to figure out a way to pay for it. And so I'm glad they taught me that. I'm sure they could have bought me, if I want a $10 toy, they could have bought it for me, but they didn't. And I'm glad they did that, because they taught me that if I want something, I have to work for it, instead of just expecting, for me to expect everything I want. I'm just going to get it, automatically. It's not like that. And, a lot of things have changed since then. And yeah.
you get other people that see the level of success that you have, and then they assume that oh well, it's because his parents are rich and he's like with these cars. But want to speak to that? Like, what's the
I find it interesting. I think Scott and I actually talked about this on the live stream we did. But it's more of, I remember he had an interesting perspective on it, but it's more of just people that have, because I could never say, sometimes even myself, everybody has false pretenses. They think of someone when they first see them, or they first hear about them. They think, oh, he's cool, or he's weird, or his parents gave him all his money, or whatever. That's just like how our mind is. I feel like most people we have pretenses of people until we know who they actually are, talk to them. And I feel like I would never, if I thought someone had a rich dad and the kids flexing cars and whatever else, I would never feel so insecure to message someone and say, wow, F you got daddy's money. I would never say something. I just don't understand how some people do it. I don't know if it's insecurities, or they just want to feel like they're in charge, or they just want to put you down. I don't know the real reasons why people do it, but the biggest thing I've learned, I used to respond to all the hate. I would comment back and try and get back at them, or try and justify, whatever they had said or, expected about me. Is now I just I go into it with a positive outlook all the time. Someone says, you got daddy's money, I would say something, like, nah, I don't. I've actually worked for everything I have, but I appreciate your thoughts, or whatever. Instead of going back at them and fighting back and arguing, I just give a simplistic, logical answer to whatever they have to say, and a good response. If someone says, F you, I'm going to say, I don't know why you think that way of me, but hopefully you can figure out your situation and become better. I just try to keep things positive. And what I've seen that do to people whenever they respond to the hate like that is just they get frozen. They don't know what to say, because, they expected you to get mad or sad or respond back, and they want to just keep, fueling the fire. But it sort of puts it out by just, being positive and wishing them the best. That's sort of what I do now.
I think that's a great approach, and then kind of like a tough lesson learned, but along the way with the success, you have these new experiences, and then learning from
it is difficult.
Yeah, and the way you guys have been handling it has been awesome. You guys are doing the right thing, and the best thing you can do is just to kind of stay true to yourself and be as real as you can, and not even waste your energy in that space, which is cool. So no, you guys have been doing the right thing.
Interesting, because I don't, Scott, I think Scott's older than me, but he looks older than me. I still look like I could be 15 or 16. I'm 18 years old now, but still everywhere I go, I get snarky comments about the car when I go to gas stations, stuff like that. The other day, I went to a gas station, and this lady comes up and she's like, wow, your dad must really love you, huh? And I was like, yep, he does love me, but I bought this myself. It's just always something. And I mean, I've just learned to deal with it. To me, it doesn't affect me at all anymore. I find it entertaining.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. Man, yeah, you've been dealing with it, very well. That's great. Another thing that I wanted to touch on that I noticed, that I saw that you're deciding to work out now. and having the whole grinding it out
Oh yeah.
mindset. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, I'm glad I got back into that. When I was like 13. So my dad, by the way, I don't think I've never really I don't think I've posted anything with my dad much. But my dad's very like he's worked out pretty much every day of his life for like 30 years. Like,
Oh wow,
he's very he's not as lean as he used to be, but he's very, he's big and
like buff.
bulky, strong.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
big buff
cool.
guy. Like I remember he used to come visit me at school, and all my friends would be like, "Wow, he looks like a wrestler," because like that's during like WWE. We're all watching that stuff. I thought he's a wrestler, but he used to take me to the gym. I would go with him like every day, every other day, and he sort of got me into lifting and stuff like that when I was 13, 14, and it
Uh-huh.
got me into like decent shape. I actually did make it onto one sports team in middle school, which was wrestling, because nobody gets cut on that team. Um,
Ah,
but
okay.
I I got into shape from that, all the cardio and working out and then lifting. And like it got
Yeah.
me into fitness a lot, and I was really into it. And then once I started making money, I sort of just got distracted. I stopped going to the gym. I didn't have my license, so I couldn't go myself. And then my dad wasn't taking me. And then, sort of off and on. I've always liked lifting weights, sometimes more than others. More, it's just if I build a habit for like a week, I'll do it for months until something happens and I can't go anymore. Um, Basically, what happened was what was it, like October of last year. I was just in like terrible shape. I weighed like 210 pounds, and I was like very, very overweight for what I was. And I just felt so sick all the time. I was just always eating junk. I wasn't working out, and I wasn't even making that much money. I wasn't really working. Like I was just doing nothing.
Energy level. What was the energy level like at that time?
True,
Low.
right? Negative, negative.
Negative
Like,
energy.
and I was like, something's got to change. And then my grandfather died like right around that same time, which was like another emotional factor that sort of caused me. I was like, no,
Yeah. Oh man.
we only have one life, and you have to live it.
Yeah.
Me living how I was living then, like not making much money, not really doing anything, just wanting to sleep, eat, watch YouTube videos, movies, whatever. Just wasting time. And I was like, what am I doing? So I wrote down what my goals were, what I wanted to be at, what I wanted to do. And I just went strict. Like some people, when they go into a diet, they just like, oh, I'm going to cut out some sugar. I'm going to cut out some carbs. I went all in. I was tracking all my macros, the chicken, the broccoli, no salt, no seasoning, no sauce, none of that stuff. And I ended up losing almost 40 pounds over the course of 3 months. And it was really great for me. So I went down from 210 to about 170 something. And now I'm hovering right now at about 180, 185.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not as strict as I was anymore. I'm just trying to really, I don't really care about the weight as much anymore. I just want to cut down my body fat. But anyways, at 3 months, like I didn't really post on social media that much, not even YouTube that much, like nothing. Just because like I didn't feel comfortable sharing my position and where I was at. So I decided I'm just going to wait till I'm at this specific point where I'm comfortable and I feel like I'm doing well. And then I'm going to share where I'm at so people can see, that business and making money, like not all of it's glamour. Now I'm still young. I'm sure I'm going to go through a lot more difficult hardships, throughout the course of my life. But that was like one of those trial things I had to go through,
Yeah.
dealing with the uncomfortability of my weight, not making money, and realizing that something has to change. And I just went basically all in and did a lot of stuff. So for like 3 months, I didn't post on Instagram or nothing really. And then I came back and I wrote that caption in the post just to sort of tell people, how it really is.
No, that's great stuff, man. And learning from them, making the transition, and that's great stuff. And I think it's great information for the audience too to to learn from that, and just to kind of find there's so many reasons, one, if you're grinding it out for business, but then also keeping your health and your mindset right, so important. So I mean, that's great stuff right there for sure. Yeah, good job with that.
Yeah, I
Um,
appreciate it.
so one of the things, let's actually talk about, for the audience, some drop shipping core strategies here. One of the things, so like, what type of drop shipping do you focus on now? So I know, some people take like a general store approach, or a niche store, or like, Scott does like the one product store. What's your like approach to drop shipping?
Yeah, so right now for me, what I've been focusing on mostly is I sort of tested with both, but now more of my stuff is focused on general stores because you can just upsell and downsell and cross sell so many different things, and it's the best platform to test products. Now, I love Scott and all, but I don't like the whole one product thing from the start. I think it could do very well, but for people that don't have experience of finding products and knowing the indicators of whether something is going to be successful or not. If they're I've had so many people make a whole one product store, Instagram, they brand out all this stuff for a product that they test it and it makes no sales, and they just spend all that time and effort, and they have to
Yeah.
scratch all of it, and they do it over and over and over again for every single product. It just takes so much effort.
The
So
time and
like
effort to do that, to get to
yeah,
that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what
I
I
hear you.
found worked better for me is just creating like a general store and testing products on there. And if something does like extremely well, I'll branch it off to a separate store. But even the things you could do, you can just, if you create an awesome product page for that single product, it's going to look well. It's going to look amazing. You can upsell similar products. Like you can make it do bundles and stuff like that. You can make it basically like a one product store, all the functions of that, but it's on a general store. And now like
Mhm.
most people aren't going to click off that product page if they're not interested in something else. Like we make sure all of our stores look professional and trustworthy.
Yeah.
But we just try to keep everything branched out.
That's awesome. No, no, great tip for sure. And then in working with the general store, as far as the advertising goes, so are you still sticking with influencer marketing or now Facebook ads or both?
All
How,
all my stuff is Facebook ads.
yeah,
I sort of cut out what I did for myself to help myself learn Facebook ads because I was having a lot of trouble with Facebook. I didn't know what to do. I was spending money. So what I did was I told myself no more Instagram influencers until I know Facebook ads and can perform the ads profitably.
yeah,
So it's like I'm cutting off something that I'm so familiar with and comfortable with to do
yeah,
something that I have no idea what I'm doing just so I can learn it and force myself. And I did that. And then I fell in love with Facebook ads. And now that's like my main focus. I really don't mess with influencers that much anymore at all. If I do, it's going to be with a personal influencer because it's more effective. And if I have something that works and I see some
yeah,
consistency, then I know I can make it blow up with influencers. I
yeah,
sort of missed the influencer space, but I'm glad. I'm still learning Facebook ads. It's always changing. There's always new stuff to learn. That's sort of what I've been doing a lot with my business partner Ariel right now. We're just testing all these new different strategies with CBO campaigns and testing with different countries and states and stuff like that. Basically, just separating all the data. Like when I used to test products, I would just test, show the location of worldwide and then exclude like third world countries and stuff like that. But now we're separating every country. We do just the United States. We start off with. We'll do UK. We'll do Canada because we want to separate everything and see which data is working best and why it's spinning. Because for me, how I see Facebook ads is really just understanding the data. You can look at the data and understand what it means. Like if you know why you're doing something, why it's going to work and why it's not going to work, you're going to have a lot more of a success rate and minimize your risk. A lot of people go in sort of like blindsided. They hear one strategy on YouTube and think that's the perfect one and try it and don't see results. And then they give up or they keep trying the same exact thing over and over, which is like, I think Einstein said at one time, like insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you
yeah,
want to have a different result, you're going to have to try new things. So that's what we've been doing. Been losing some money here and there. We'll make some money. But once we find something that really works, we're going to be able to branch it off and sort of have like the next big thing that all the dropshippers are trying to use.
yeah.
So
Trial
yeah,
and error, yeah, for sure. And I mean that's the key thing, which is the product testing and things like that. And 2 points that I wanted to touch on. One was like the CBO, but before we talk about that, take a step back. So if in working with a general drop shipping store, the type of ads that you're producing, so are you actually going to the extent of creating ads for every product?
yeah. So as far as the ads go, like my business partner Ariel, before we became business partners, he was actually a video editor for YouTubers. So that was a big
Awesome.
plus to having him. So yeah, for actually creating our ads. He has access to all the copyright free music and he knows all these different editing techniques and how to keep the audience retention up and all these different little tips and tricks that we've been able to incorporate into our own ads. So like being honest, like I used to, when I first started doing it, I'll just rip somebody else's ad. I don't care if it had their logo on or whatever. I'll just steal it. But now we've become more productive and seeing that, if you want to actually stand out and be successful in 2019, you're actually going to have to put in a lot of effort and work. It's not like, I wouldn't say easy, but it's not as simple as it used to be to make money. Like now they have to put in a lot of effort. Like our ads, we'll get videos from the suppliers. We'll ask them to film like certain shots for us. If it's a product that we don't have, we'll bring our own and film it. We'll find clips of customers have taken and sort of piece them together. And yeah, we really just make use of our resources. I see a lot of people don't utilize all the free resources out there.
Yeah.
Um, not just in making ads, but anything, just learning. there's so much free stuff out there you can learn from that I don't see why you wouldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a great point to mention there. And then leading into like the CBO campaigns. So I did catch on, like, you started talking about it already on YouTube, and it's the changes that are going into effect in the Facebook advertising for the audience. Can you speak more about that, CBO?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I know it's been on Facebook, but I hadn't tried it until recently, about a couple months ago, because Facebook started pushing out a little bit more on some different ad accounts, because it apparently it's supposed to go mandatory in fall of this year.
Yeah,
So if it's going to be mandatory, then we have to figure
better
out
learn
what
now.
works now. Yeah, we have to figure out what works now, why it works, and go from there. And it's pretty interesting. We've tried so many different things, but we haven't found something that works consistently over and over, for like a strategy that works over and over for all of our products. Like sometimes something will work. Like one of the first things we tried was in our let's say we're cold testing a product, and in the campaign, if we have a single ad set that's doing well consistently, what we did was just we duplicated that specific ad set into a CBO campaign with 5 duplicates. So 5 of the same exact ad sets in one CBO campaign at $100 a day. We tried a few different budgets, and $100 a day was the most effective. And it's sort of weird though, because it's like it's duplicates of all the same assets. It was just like a weird theory idea that we had, and it ended up working. It was profitable. But some of the stuff, like one of the campaigns, it was profitable, but it only lasted for like 3 days, and then it stopped making any sales. It was spending, but no results at all. So like Facebook's algorithm is sort of confusing. Like I don't understand the full depths of it, but all the CBO stuff has really just been trial and error. I don't want to be talking about a bunch of different strategies for everybody to be trying, because I don't want to say something that works and it doesn't work for you.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
there's a
it's
lot of different
very.
things you can try.
Yeah, like right now, would you say it's kind of like new frontier, new stuff that you're working out, and others are doing
Mhm.
it as well. But it's kind of, for those that are at least keeping an awareness of it, and before it is mandatory, get your advertising campaign going right, learn it. This is probably would you say it's a good
Yeah.
time to be doing that right now?
Oh yeah. I'm trying to take some hits and share with other people, so that other people, my audience and whoever else, doesn't have to take the hits and lose a bunch of money. I'm using some capital. We've been spending a lot of money on ads, just trying out different things. Because once we find something that works consistently, we implement it on all our stuff, share it to my students. They make money off of it, and it's a great experience. And once it becomes mandatory, then we're going to be able to have an advantage on the people that haven't been preparing for it. It's really just about preparing for what's going to happen, because once it's mandatory, if you don't understand it and you don't know how to set it up, or you don't know what's going to work best, then you're going to have some issues. Um, but it's definitely interesting.
No, great stuff. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. And even just to touch on, even though, like you said, you haven't been focusing on the influencer marketing, I hear a lot of people, just saying that, that technique is dead. Like, would you describe it as, it's dead, or it's just,
I would never say any of this type of marketing will ever be dead, because there's always going to be some person that wants to buy some product on some platform. There's always going to be the ability to make money on the platform. I mean, the technique itself there's no way it can be dead. I've sort of been out of the influencer space for a little bit now, but I know I could go back in with the same strategies and come out of it. I see this a lot of people with the influencers. The issue that I've had with influencers when I was doing it heavily with the themed influencers is that they knew what dropshipping was. They figured out what it was and what we're doing. And they would, if we were buying ads for them, buying ads from them for more than a couple of times, then they're going to add the product to their store. They're going to copy our exact ad, and they're going to run ads to their own store with it and not sell ads to us. Like they would just try and take advantage of you with that. And then you wouldn't have that audience to utilize. Maybe it was profitable for me, but then they took advantage of me. Like some people were
yeah.
cool about it. I would actually write contracts with them saying they couldn't post any other person's ad that had
Oh,
the same
yeah, like a
product as me.
non-compete, right? Yeah, that's a good
That's
point.
that's what I did with the Gold Rose, the first 6-figure store, was because I saw over those 7 months of trial and error, I saw people would steal products that were being tested. That's what I see with the influencer spaces. So many people try and stick to one single product they see. If they see a couple ads on a few pages, then everybody flocks to it instead of trying to be a little bit different. And that's why I did those contracts with the influencers. I was like, for the next, if I buy an ad from you every day, then you're not able to post any other ad that's related or specifically my product that I'm selling on this ad, even you. And
Yeah.
a lot of them complied with it, and that worked to my advantage, just because my
Smart.
incentive towards
Yeah.
it, that if you don't post anybody else's ad with the same product, then I'm going to buy ads from you every single day. So you don't have to sell to them. It's going to be beneficial for both of us. And that was a big advantage that I used for myself.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, great point there. And yeah, thanks for bringing that up too. Man, you dropped a lot of great information here, a lot of great tips. But I want to give you some exposure for the latest stuff that you've been working on. So I know you do have the next gen ecom course, and that's why I said next gen, which is cool. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So next generation e-commerce, my dad actually came up with that name. I knew I was making a new course and I was going to make it amazing. And I had a bunch of different names and I had a whole list. And I had something next gen, and my dad's like, "Why don't you do next gen ecom?" And I thought about it for a while. And luckily, my dad's pretty creative. I feel like I get a creative sense from him a little bit. But he came up with that name, and I was like, "That's amazing. That's perfect."
Yeah.
And anyways, what I had done was last summer, I knew I wanted to do it. I had the resource of a warehouse, that one of my buddy who owns a business was leasing the warehouse, and then I ended up becoming friends with the owner of the warehouse, and he allowed me to come in there. I had my own garage door and code and stuff, and bring the car in there and film in there. I was like, this is gonna be amazing, and I knew I just wanted to make it like different. Like, I didn't just want to make a course about myself and making a bunch of different videos. Of course, I'm featured in like a majority of the videos, but what I wanted to do is, share, because I'm not ever going to say I'm the best at every aspect of e-commerce or online marketing or anything like that. So what I decided I want to do is, I have this network of other young entrepreneurs my age that are, they have expertise in email marketing, Facebook ads, some other back end stuff, chat bots, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I decided that, why don't I have them come in? And, I'm not going to, my mindset is that if I have friends that have a business, I'm going to support them. I'm not going to ask, if you owned a business where you sell laptops, I'm not going to ask you, "Yo, Brian, can I get a laptop for 50% off since we're friends?" No, I'm going to pay you full price because we're friends and I want to support you in your business. So I offered money to these people. I said, "All right, I'm going to fly you here to nobody wants to come to North Carolina, by the way. Everybody just thought it'd be so boring." I was like, "Look, I'll pay for your flight, your hotel, and I'll pay you X amount to, make these videos with me. We'll plan the videos. It'll be awesome. We'll collab, stuff like that. I think it'll be great. As well as, you being in my program is going to be a credibility boost for yourself. People see that, they can come to you for more additional help if they need it."
Yeah.
And it ended up working out very well. I've have Hayden, I actually flew him out and put videos in there with him. Noah Brewer from part of my Facebook ads team. He has his own agency. Dennis White works with Noah. My friend PB does all email marketing. Matt Faber does like some chat bots and stuff like that. Interesting marketing tactics. But, my end goal with this is just to continue to grow like this whole built out. Like, to me, it's in its very beginning stages. Right now it's just an online course, but I want to build it as something way bigger. My end goal is to have like locations around, the country and eventually the world, where I have people that, students that I help make, large amounts of money, and then sort of put them in charge of these locations to run as a business, sort of like changing the education system. Like, I'm a senior in high school right now. I've technically finished school, but I haven't graduated yet. But my senior project, I wrote a 15-page paper on my opinions on the education system and what I would do to change it. And like, I want to introduce, more,
That's
financial
awesome.
sensibility and
I'd be
business
interested in
stuff like
reading
that to
that too.
students. Oh yeah. And like, that's just one of my end goals, is to have like actual education centers around the country for, young aspiring entrepreneurs. That's like my Facebook group. I don't know if you've heard of Ascent, Up and Coming Entrepreneurs. That was
Yeah.
the name of my entrepreneur club that I
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
So then I made it to Facebook group, and now, that was like my end goal to build that up. But I want next generation e-commerce to be something like that. Like, right now it's just like a drop shipping course. I want to continue to build that out, but I want it to be like an entire e-learning space, because I feel like not children, just like kids in general, or younger people, even adults, they learn better like now growing up, since they're so used to and attracted to watching YouTube videos for entertainment all the time. Is that if they can learn by like guided videos, they're going to enjoy that a lot more than sitting in a classroom, not enjoying the teacher writing on a whiteboard and getting distracted by all their friends around them, messing around or whatever. I want
Yeah.
like-minded people to be around each other and to support each other and help them learn different things, whether it's video editing, Facebook ads, I don't care. I just want to be able to teach people do different things, and have different people like I have with my course now with dropshipping. I have people for email marketing, Facebook ads, stuff like that. But I want to be related to skill sets, because I know Elon Musk just talked recently. He's like, what's more valuable right now in 2019 for people is skill sets, a lot more than just degrees. I think it's very true. That you
Yeah,
can't just have a degree and be successful. Even if you do have a degree, you're gonna have to have some kind of skill sets in order to get a job and become successful within that job. I have nothing against people that work jobs and go to college and stuff like that. It's not for me personally, but I think if you have something you want to do specifically, you want to be a doctor, then yeah, you're gonna have to go to school and go to college and learn to those skill sets to be a doctor. But what I don't like is how like majority of people go to college just because that's the normal for them. Their family wants them to go. They get into debt and they're going. They don't know what they even want to do or study, so they're in business school, marketing school, and they're really not. They're learning. They're paying so much money to learn things that you could just experience. If you were going to business school in college, I would just say just start a business. That's going to be able to help you learn a lot better. I think experience is always going to be a lot better for people than just learning things.
Yeah, yeah. No, great point for sure. I mean, you touched on a lot there, and things even in the education system, has to transform to the way the modern world is kind of being run, college or even in high school. I mean, the structure of it is still pretty much the same as back in the Little House on the Prairie days, and it's just like
Yep.
it needs to evolve into something new. And yeah, like you said, Elon Musk and skill sets being more important, being able to learn and walk away with something so you could hit the ground running, not just have like a broad education that
Yeah.
doesn't let you do anything.
Yeah, I think just the biggest thing is just people are scared to fail. They don't want to lose money. They don't want to not be successful with the business. And I feel like a lot of people are scared to just take that risk and just get out there. But I mean, business is not for everyone. I would never try to push entrepreneurship on every single person, every single kid, because it's not for everybody. Everybody enjoys different things.
Yeah.
I just think the exposure
Well,
is something.
I mean, people can do things because they want to. So, like,
Yeah.
even in my perspective, like, I mean, I'm a techie, but I've done different things where, I don't need to consult myself out, but I do, and I work on the latest, cloud platforms and at an enterprise level because I want to stay on the cutting edge because I love technology. I don't have to. But I want to, and other people can do the same things. Like Elon Musk, he's doing the things he's doing because he wants to, and it's not just because of money driven and things like that. Even though that's also a good perk. You don't want to go into things and lose money either. But no, yeah, I'd be interested in reading that paper that you mentioned there. So yeah, let me know if you do post
All
it.
right, that's it. Yeah, I should. I wonder what grade I got on it.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. So, like, anything else that's worth mentioning that you've been working on right now outside of that next gen ecom?
Nothing too specific I'm gonna release yet. I mean, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I'm just trying to really keep my head down and focus on a couple things at once instead of trying to juggle a ton of things. That's just how I am more effective. My personality is I want to do a million different things at once, but I'm
And the
sort of trying to.
giveaways, maybe talk about that latest giveaway that you did. I
Oh yeah,
post about that. People
yeah.
get excited about that.
Yeah, so I just finished up a giveaway where basically you enter the giveaway and you get points by, following me on my social medias and getting referrals for like an affiliate system, stuff like that. But anyways, it was sort of like a thing for me to boost my personal brand, get more engagement, and, be able to connect more with my audience and give an opportunity to my audience for people that actually want to, put in the effort to win. And first place opportunity was, you get to come to Miami. I'll fly you to Miami, put you in a dope Airbnb for 3 days straight. I'm going to fly out with my Facebook ads team. We're going to have a great time, teach you. Second place is 4 1-hour mentorship calls. And third place was you get lifetime access to next generation e-commerce. And I did it. And the giveaway ended yesterday. I announced the winners. And the weirdest thing ever, I want to say weird, but it was just like, what are the chances? So the winner already lives in Miami. So anybody in the world could win to come to Miami. And of course, the one winner lives in Miami already. So
Wow.
I know people are going to be sketched out about that. They're going to be like, oh, Tanner, it's fake. You rigged it, whatever. But actually I had no idea. This kid just, he put in the effort to win and he won. But to make things more exciting, I guess I was like, since I'm going to save money and not have to buy a plane ticket or whatever, anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and fly out another person. So today at 3 p.m. Eastern, about hour and a half, I'm going to be announcing another giveaway, but this is going to be a short giveaway. This is going to be like a 2-day, 48-hour giveaway. You got to figure out the details after this podcast. Actually, it's a few little different things we're working on, but I'm excited. So now we're going to have 2 people in Miami for the hands-on mentorship. It's going to be awesome though. I've never done something like this where I actually, I've never trained anybody in person, as far as like actually guided step by step. Maybe a couple people here and there just helping them out, but this is going to be like 3 days. It's going to be crazy. So everything's going to be documented. Also, I'm bringing a videographer friend. It's going to be an expensive little trip, flying out all these people and paying for places to stay in Miami. It's an expensive place, but I think it's going to be worth it in the long run, just to be able to provide that value and then share that experience on video, to my audience. There's going to be some awesome YouTube videos.
There's win-win all the way around. And even with that, I think even in your journey, because like I've seen some of your giveaways, in the past, where I forgot what it was, like either iPhones or just giving away money. But I'd say giving away something like this is way more valuable and a great story to share, which this type of stuff way more valuable. Like I did giveaways too, and it's just like I did it to kind of talk about like the proverb where it's just like you give a man a fish and he eats for a day, but you teach a man to fish and he eats for the rest of his life. So I was doing these giveaways and I was just like, hey, I'll give I hope you win this $100 or whatever, but what if you could learn something where you could make $100 or $1,000 anytime you want because you have the skill set to do so. I would hope that people would rather want that. Right?
That's why that's how I want this to be. Like the kid who won first place, who lives in Miami already, I think he's like 15. Like, he's pretty young. I want to be able to help him through this, and he's already a little hustler. He said he has like a couple thousand saved up for ad spend and stuff like that. I want him to be able to look back at this when he's super successful and he's making a ton of money, from whatever he's doing, e-commerce or whatever. I have no idea. I want him to be able to look back at this and be like, wow, Tanner and his team, they helped, open my eyes to all the opportunities. And, I want to be able to like keep these long-term relationships with him and whoever else wins the next giveaway, to sort of like, actually change their lives. So I used to just give away cash like crazy. Like this, all right, here's $100, here's $20, like all this stuff. But like that $100 or whatever, those people, most of them are going to use it in the right way. Like they're not going to spend it on ads most of the time.
And and the end result, as you can see, so now you're making an impact, and you're making an impact in the people's livelihood, and which is a great thing, and it's so fulfilling. Having that type of situation is just so awesome because everybody wins. It's a great story. That person's life is changed and improved forever. You have a great feeling for being able to share your knowledge and do that, which is just so awesome. So great stuff, man.
Thank you.
You've been
appreciate
doing
it.
things, and I say keep doing what you're doing, and like like I said, I do this podcast to kind of highlight the people that are real out there, to help people avoid the fakes, and then help people that's real. And then some people they look at this level of success that you have, and they immediately think, oh, it's a scam, or it's a fake, or it's get rich quick. But I try to at least point out the people that are real and that are doing it and delivering real value, and that's one of the goals of this show. So I'd say for those in the audience that don't know about Tanner, definitely start watching him. Get in touch with this program here, because it's awesome stuff. He's the real deal, and also made a huge impact on dropshipping, introducing the influencer marketing tactic 2 years ago, and then now evolving into something like this, which is really great. So I'm looking forward to following you, staying in touch with you. Actually, that reminds me, is it cool to follow up with you later in the year to see how things are going?
Oh yeah, 100%. I would love to.
That would be awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. I know you're busy, and then you're getting ready to take on that. You dropped a lot of great tips and value for the audience. So this is great stuff, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. My first podcast, had a great time.
All right.
I would love to do a progress podcast a little bit later on.
Awesome stuff, man. Yeah, definitely. Awesome, man. Thanks, Tanner. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
So I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Tech Money Talks. I hope everything was helpful and thought-provoking and somewhat entertaining. If you want to learn more about this topic, please let me know so I know what to focus on in future episodes. My goal is to teach people how to make money with the opportunities that technology can bring. And if you like this episode, please show your support by subscribing, leaving an awesome review. And in the meantime, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. My tag name is Tech Money Talks. Thanks again. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Peace.